we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country.
Here on the UNC program last night.
Let us stand together.
Bashing me.
Yeah.
We stick
They
more
cry from the ghetto. And the way on them, like they don't care about the money now. Make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. They cry from the ghetto. And the way on them, like they don't care about the money now. Make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. They cry from the ghetto. And the way on them, like they don't care about the money now. Make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know, we got to try to make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto, and the way on them like they don't care about the money now.
Blessed good afternoon to each and everyone. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Well, of course, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue our program as usual, and we ask you to share the live as we go along this afternoon. Right, so my mic is on, everything is on, and we ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, as I welcome our viewers locally, regionally, and internationally, I want us to pay attention to today's proceedings. I should have Councillor Derek Bowen joining me sometime in the show later on. He is not yet in studio, but as soon as he reaches in studio, I will invite him to the head table. So let's get into today's proceedings. This week, I have seen a video ladies and gentlemen, with a man who is a supporter of the People's National Movement. And that man, ladies and gentlemen, was so distasteful that I try to wonder if there is any other human being on the planet that in any way possible could outdo what that man did. Thank you, son. In disgracing a woman. Ladies and gentlemen, that man, I am wondering if that man came from the womb of a woman, or if that happened to fall from one of the planets in the universe to the face of the earth. That man, A.V. Drilling, who purports to be a human being, who should understand what is self-respect, who should understand, ladies and gentlemen, the heart of a mother, could stand up and ridicule by way of disguise, in my view, the leader of the opposition. I am trying to wonder and trying to ascertain if this is the kind of human beings that the PNM would support. I have saw a video previous to this where that man spoke to the love that he had for Rowley and Stuart Young. How he will love to be in the pit with Rowley and Stuart Young. I am seriously ashamed of the conduct of that individual who, as a result of scandal surrounding him, today Petrotrin exists no more. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask Rowley and Stuart Young tonight, if that is what they would condone, as Rowley boasts in 2018, that this man is a financier of the PNM. I want to ask Stuart Young and Rowley tonight and the rest of the PNM, if this is the type of behavior that they would condone by a financier of that party. I am so disgusted with even watching that individual, much less to listen to the content that he displayed in relation to a woman of this country. And you could play the ostrich and bury your head in the sand. It's a matter for you. Today, one man said to me that he didn't call any name, but even my son, 12 years old, Omar, know exactly who this idiot speaks of. This is what we tolerate in this country as human beings. We have learned, ladies and gentlemen, as a result of a financial audited report by Petrotrin, who speaks to the fake oil scandal. The scandal that Rowley and Stuart Young refuse, ladies and gentlemen, to put in a defense when Deborah Peak, senior counsel, who represented Petrotrin, said that there is serious grounds and yet to the end of the day, Keith Rowley, Stuart Young, and the rest of the PNM government refuse to defend the people of this country, refuse to take the necessary precaution to protect the public purse. Yet to the end of the day, today that individual could stand up and make a mockery out of democracy because of the failure of the PNM to stand up and to defend the citizens of this country in relation to the fake oil scandal. It was Keith Rowley who said to the reporters that while he was abroad, he called Bash to find out and to inquire what this fake oil was about, trying to suggest to the country that he had no information on that fake oil scandal when Nicole Olivier was removed as the Minister of Energy, when Franklin Khan was appointed to the ministerial portfolio, while we had Faris Alwari as the Attorney General. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Bash could whine on this country. He could whine on you. He could rumba on you. Not only because of Rowley and Stuart Young failing to put in that defense, but because you, the people of this country, refuse to stand up for what is right. This, ladies and gentlemen, I like how we're seeing a long tail and nothing else. Check it out good. This have no testicular fortitude. Watch it good. Watch it well. This, I want to ask Dr. Rudal Munilal. Tag him. Call him. Tell him the Kofu man talking about him. Because while Munilal could speak about Henry Awong, and me, Victor Roberts, as a result of Rushton Parry call for internal election, he said, one man, in my words, toting feelings because he didn't get the chairmancy, and a next man dragging Kofu all over the country. All you remember Rudal Munilal's statement? I want to tell Munilal tonight that I was dragging a coffin looking for a lion that have testicular fortitude. Tell him I say that. I was looking for a lion who will defend the leader of the opposition against all the idiotic talk from A. Vigilant. I was looking for a lion who would stand up and fight to protect the office of the leader of opposition. But this Rudal Munilal, ladies and gentlemen, have now reduced to this. That is what Munilal has allowed himself to reduce to: a little house cat. A house cat with a tail. That is what Munilal has allowed himself to become: a little house cat. And when he become a little house cat, you know what happened? I have a cat home. And Limoy, my wife, fed up with that cat. Because that cat uncovering pot, that cat eating the fry bake, that cat doing everything. And I've been very courteous tonight. That cat doing everything in the kitchen, that Limoy just had to beat that cat. Omar, what is his name? Simba. We call the cat Simba. This is what Munilal have allowed himself to become. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when Rushdan Parry asks for internal election, everybody attack Rushdan Parry. Press release here, there, and everywhere. I want to ask Munilal to send a press release right now against that idiot A. Vigilant. That is what I want to tell Munilal tonight. Send a press release condemning, and I'm calling on David Lee, Jolene John, and the whole team. Ratiram, all of them are calling on them to send press releases to condemn A. Vigilant and condemn the PNM for the conduct of a financier of the PNM. That is what I'm calling for. We have seen a refinery shut down. We have seen hundreds upon hundreds of workers being sent home. We have seen abandoned fields all over. But yet, to the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, nobody in condemning this idiot in San Francisco. Nobody in condemning that. So he could take off his shirt and he could whine and he could grind and he could balance and he could whine and say, yeah, this is Avery and this is that and that is that. You know why he could whine on all you? Petrotrin closed, end of investigation. Millions of dollars cannot be accounted for, end of investigation. An investigation going on. The Prime Minister of this country call the subject of our investigation, had a discussion, and put it in the public domain. I, Keith Rowley, call Avery Drilling and Dilkey Singh. It's not me saying that. It's your Prime Minister said that. And he tell the media, what kind of man would I be if I have a friend and I hear such and such, that I would not call him to investigate? And all you take that as a country, while the Prime Minister being the head of the national security, while the Prime Minister receive records and files and information from the Attorney General, from the Commissioner of Police, from the Minister, everybody, all you sit down and take that. And Rowley say, what kind of man would I be if I didn't call my friend? He called his friend. That is to tell you that the country, the public purse, the citizens, you are not important to Keith Rowley. It is Avery Drilling that is important to Rowley. That is what he said to you. I call my friend. And I haven't seen one of the press releases, not one of them, somebody said the chief whip. Well, let me tell you something. I haven't seen none of them stand up and condemn what that said in relation to our leader who sits in the parliament as the leader of the opposition. Not one of them, including the pussycat. Sorry, I want to take back that word pussycat, because my wife tell me not to use that word. She tell me use the word house cat. I want to say that this has become this. That is the reality. And I leave that there for now. This existed under Basdeo Panday. This existed. This existed. Under the current regime, this is what we now have. A little house cat. This is what we have. So I want to tell Dr. Rudhan Monilal, and I want to remind him, by the way, Dr. Monilal, did you walk from Debe Market to the house of the leader of the opposition with the same coffin, the same man who you say dragging coffin all about? Wasn't you a part of that said operation? What you don't know is that I was dragging the coffin to put in this, because I have recognized that this is what exists. This is what you have reduced to, Dr. Monilal. A little pussycat. Sorry, a little house cat. So I rest that case for now. All right? Go in a corner and bawl meow, meow, and look for your milk. Right? I rest that for now. Ladies and gentlemen, this man they call A&V. This man, who as a result of the government failing to put in a defense, Rowley stood up and said that, look, in order to compensate him, we had to give him some cash. We had to give him extra wells. We give him a next field. And I mean, if I was in the position of this man, I might have been taking off my shirt, my pants, and everything else, and telling the country how I love Stuart Young and Rowley. This man, as a result of the government failing to put in a defense, when Deborah Peake, senior counsel, advised them that the arbitrators in the matter err in their judgment, and Rowley stand up and tell we that he seek legal advice. I want to know if that advice came from Nelson. I want to know if another advice that came from Nelson, because we have record to show that Nelson gave an advice in the Malcolm Jones matter when he gave an advice to the former regime under the Attorney General of Anand Ram Logan. It flipped to know that when the government changed, that a different advice was given to free Malcolm Jones from the millions of dollars that he would have had to pay back taxpayers in this country. That is what we have seen. And today, while Deborah Peake said to us that the arbiters owe in the arbitration and we have a case to win, it was Stuart Young and Keith Rowley and the rest of the PNM who failed to put in that defense. And my question today, I want to ask Rowley and Stuart Young, is it a matter of protection that took place? That is my question. I want to know if Stuart Young and Rowley were protective of the financiers, and that's the reason why they did not put in a defense where Trinidad and Tobago would have a chance of retrieving millions of dollars as a result of this fake oil scandal. Rowley, answer the question. Answer the question, Rowley. Stuart Young, answer the question. As a result of the closure of Petrotrin, today the country is being starved of forex. We cannot find US money. But you must answer. You must answer to this country if favoritism is being extended to members of the PNM, whereby they can get hundreds of thousands of dollars in US currency while the average man cannot receive. You must tell us, Mbut. You must tell this country. And this is why we are advocating for a strong UNC, that we could break the backs of the level of corruption, that we can break the backs of the level of nepotism, that we can break the back of all what is happening in this country and allow the country to see a different future. We are faced, ladies and gentlemen, with property tax. And I want to welcome Councillor Bowen, who now walk in the studio. I will call him to the head table very shortly. We are faced with property tax. The government tell us that, look, a reform is coming. The people of this country voted on that reform. And today, where is the reform? It seems as though that all we're reforming is Avery Drilling and other members of the PNM who finance the PNM. That is what we are seeing. We are seeing this country going down the road. We have seen this government take a line that to the end of the day, people may very well lose their houses. We are seeing the government going down the line. A trend has been developed where very soon you will not be able to provide food on your table. And while all the shenanigans taking place, You know what is happening? The country is suffering. We want people with fortitude. We want people who will stand up and fight. As Basdio Pandey did for the sugarcane workers. We want people who will fight to ensure that at the end of the day, there's a future for the trend of this country. That is what we want. I want to invite Councillor Bowen as he comes in. As he came in, I want to invite him to the head table. We want the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to stand up against a government who does not care about the people of the country. That is what we want. We want people with fortitude. We want people who will fight the battle no matter what it costs. You know, let me just say this before I go to Councillor Bowen. I want to tell some of the people on Facebook, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time about Victor Roberts. Because Victor Roberts doesn't waste his time on you. Your criticism means nothing to me. I was a fighter. I am a fighter. I will remain a fighter. So your criticism don't mean nothing to me. You just wasting your time. Because there are some principles in this body that you cannot change. So don't waste your time on me. Miss Santa Cruz and others, don't waste all the time about Victor Roberts, because Victor Roberts pay no attention to all you. All they could cuss, all they could skin all their face, all they could say what they want. It doesn't matter to me. My battle is not about all you. My battle is against the PNM, and my battle is for democracy. And nobody could change that. So don't waste your time. Welcome to the program, Councillor Bowen. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. I'm glad to have you here today. You take time off from your busy schedule. I know today was council meeting. I know you had a task today. And I am really grateful that you take the opportunity to come and join me tonight. I want to switch the conversation a little bit. And I'm sorry that you didn't come earlier, because if you had come earlier on, we would have been on a different topic long time. But I think you come at the right time. I said what I had to say, and now we must move on. Councillor Bowen, we have seen that the PNM campaign on local government reform for the local election. To date, we have not seen any implementation of that. We have seen a dilly-dally and a shilly-shally. Shilly-shally with the government. A dilly-dally and a shilly-shally with the government. And you know who I quote there, right?
Yes,
I quote a friend of mine.
Of
Dilly-dally and shilly-shally. We have seen that happening in relation to the government. I know that you are councillor for how many years now, Councillor Bowen?
I'm going on about 10 years.
10 years.
Actually.
I know you have been in the corporation now, borough of Siparia. I know you have seen the ups, the down. You have seen the frustration in terms of getting releases. You have seen the agony of being a councillor, having to report to your people when there is nothing to report, so to speak. Today, I want to just shift the conversation a little bit, and for you to share some light on what are your thoughts in relation to the reform. You see the reform as something that would make a difference if it is implemented. You see the weaknesses of the reform, you see the strength of the reform, because I know you have spent time studying it. So I wanted to share with the listeners today, judging from what is happening with us in the borough of Siparia, I want you to share some light as to if you think that the reform should be implemented, because that is what people vote on. People vote on an implementation of the reform. That is what people vote on. Whether we like it or not, I know our position in the UNC, we said that we will support reform, but it must be genuine reform. So what is your thoughts going forward in relation to the reform?
All right, so well, first of all, let me say good night to all your viewers, your listeners all over the internet, the social media platform. Good night to everyone. Although I was not, as you said, I was not here at the beginning,
Yeah.
but I also should correct some because I was listening to the program. It's not that the government didn't put up a defense, they did not query, they did not file an appeal on that AV drilling issue.
Right,
So,
so-
that's why the whole thing went KY.
Right, so just stop a
that's
minute.
fine.
So stop a
So-
minute. So that is why I said the government did not put a defense, because what is a defense? A defense in law will show that if a matter is existing and we fail to put in, a judgment is before us, and the government failed to put in an appeal, they failed to put in a defense to what is existing. So the end of the day, the
It
government
amounts to the
failed,
same. Fair enough.
right? So it's half a dozen.
That's the terminology, I
Right,
suppose.
okay, good.
So
good.
you asked me about reform.
Yeah.
So let me first of all say this. I am by no means, not even near, an expert in this field.
Yeah.
I will make comments about things that I feel or I've experienced in my time as a counselor. Reform is needed. Even the UNC has admitted that. We have no issue with that. The reform is needed. But let me take you back a little bit, Victor.
Yep.
The government campaigned on reform in 2020 in a general election. They won the general election. They campaigned again in 2023 in a local government election. Reform is the choice, or the right choice to reform, and they twisted back and forth all over these two elections. But we are in 2024, after all these elections are finished, and nothing has been done. I want to also say this. To the population, the government has indicated that property tax is linked with the reform.
Right.
They have indicated that clearly, that they cannot do the reform unless property tax has been implemented, which they did.
Right.
So we are being told that the property tax will make life better for Burgesses, and the money will go into the corporations and so forth, etc., etc., etc. And it's sung real nice. I wish one of the ministers could say tonight if that is reality. Because they have proclaimed the property tax. Well, 1 minute they collect, they gain back, all kind of bacchanal. So it's a sort of chaos there. But reform has not been instituted. Nowhere, no form or fashion. Now, we could also argue the point that maybe there are tweets that need to be fixed.
Right.
But there might be tweets in the Procurement Act too. And they proclaimed that the other day, if the population remember correctly, and almost the whole government system shut down for a couple months because all the factors were not in place. But it was fixed eventually, or it started work, maybe not the best, but it started work. So the argument I am making here is this. What is your problem? Local government reform, partial parliament, lower house, upper house, everything. You can't proclaim it. You campaign on it. You promise that reform is the choice and whatever. Well, I don't even know what to say about that. But when is it going to happen? But you know what's the real problem for me, that reform thing? Especially the property tax aspect of it. Here's how this is going now. The system now, Trinidad and Tobago, is that the corporation will send into the ministry their draft estimates of what they expect the expenditure for the year. So we'd ask the ministry, listen, we need $100 million to run X corporation for the year.
Right.
So the ministry then said, listen, tell me how much you can make on your own. That's things like cesspool cleaning and recreation, ground rental, and small things. So we will make $2. So all they give you is the balance to make up that $100 million, and they might still cut at it. They might say, we can't afford that, so we give $50 million, take off the $2, we give X one amount. So Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell you how this property tax thing is going to work. If you collect, and we were, our book showed that we're supposed to collect $8 million in property tax this financial year. And if the ministry said, listen, the most all I could get when we do all the maths is $100 million. Well, they don't feel we get $190 million, eh? It is not getting more. They will give you less minus what you make in property tax. So it's the same dollar again, you know? So while they're making the population feel that, hey, when they get property tax, but they have real money, that is not the case.
Right.
Because they will deduct that from what you ask for, your draft estimate, and just give you the balance. So if it is $1 million, you're still same with $1 million. It's not changing. So all they're doing is fooling the population by saying that, hey, this thing going to make things fantastic for the borough. All corporations, a lot of real money. That is not the reality of it. And I challenge any minister to come now and say, I am wrong. Like I said, I'm no expert, but that is my understanding of it. I challenge anyone to come and say, what I have said here is wrong. So, while we're giving the population the impression that your property tax is going to do so much for you, all that will do is put pressure on councillors, you know. Because if I pay my tax today, I want my road paved tomorrow, you know. And you have no excuse because the government say you have all the money now. That's what's going to happen, you know. So local government is going to be under more pressure to deliver more for less. That's the reality of it. And again, like I said, I'm no expert, but that is my understanding of it. I have no issue with reform. Reform is needed. I have no problem with that. But don't fool the population by saying that because of this, you'll all get more. Because that's not good. That's not the reality of it. You're lying to the population, which is normally pay them. That's normal. They lie to you, they give you a mama guy, and tomorrow you vote for them, boom, catch your backside the next day.
But tell me something about the borough of Superior in terms of releases and so on. Is release being on time? Is there a problem to get these releases? What?
Well,
talk to the population.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm not the chairman of finance this term of office. I was chairman last term of office. But from my understanding of what is happening in finance, because obviously I'm doing physical infrastructure, so that implies that. So we were fortunate this year. We got some more releases for roads and drains early because we were very adamant on getting that paperwork done very early.
Proactive.
Yeah, we're proactive in getting it done. But that really hasn't solved the problem because there are other aspects of the corporation that is very critical. Money to buy parts, money to buy fuel, money to do a lot of things in the corporation that are recurrent, as we call it,
Right.
that are not forthcoming. We would have, if we say, listen, we want $20 today, we get $10. Or let's see what we can do with that. So at no point in time, and I suspect every corporation going through that, at no point in time can the corporation get themselves above the water. We always under water, we always struggling. But yes, still, the government will keep proposing, oh, the corporation have this and they have that. We can't spend a single dollar unless the minister gives us approval. So when they talk about balances and unspent balances, that is just foolishness. We can't spend that money unless the minister say, hey, okay, yes, you can do it. So we had to ask him before we can spend that money. So I get the impression that you could just take the money out of the back, hey, let me go and buy a truck or pay tobacco. That don't work that way.
So I know before we had the opportunity where the unspent balances that would be there, after it is audited, we would have been able to utilize that money, whether through ministerial approval and so on. But what is happening in the future? Would unspent balances be something that still exists, but going forward, what would be the issue with unspent balances?
Right, so that will be a thing of the past. I think it was the last meeting last week, we got a document at the finance meeting that indicated that the ministry is saying, listen, you're not getting any money for any of your DP because unspent balances only comes from our DP.
DP, right.
Development project for those who don't know. And now, what we have to do, after the project has been tendered and awarded and the contractor says, I want $1, that's all we get in. The $1 to pay that contractor. So there's no balances anymore. There will be no balances for no corporation anymore. That is a thing of the past. So you have a $4 million allocation to do, let's say roads for instance, you really have $4 million. Because if all the contracts when it's awarded get up to $3 million, you only get $3 million. So there will be nothing like balances anymore. That's the thing of the past.
So where would that put us in terms of where before we had this unspent balances, after this audit, we would be able to utilize it for specific projects. Now where we doesn't have unspent balances going forward, if we are in a problem to say, well, we have some projects and we calculate that those projects will be running to about $3 million, and for some reason, whether it be by nature, by whatever, the project may run into $3,100,000. What will become of us?
No,
there?
that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. To be fair, that wouldn't happen. Whatever price is tender, that's the price you work with. But the thing about it is that the unspent balance is something that you can always use. You might accumulate that over a couple of years and do a massive project. Maybe acquire a building, maybe buy a piece of land to do some development for the borough or the corporation, as the case may be. That's no longer happen.
So I said that in relation to this. I know in Rio Claro, at one time, a tender went out for a school, that is the Presbyterian school. A tender went out for X amount for this school. But as we go along, somewhere along the line, due to weather, the school was a split level. And a whole embankment came down and so on, where we had to further request finances because this was an unseen issue that take place. And of course, we had to go back to the ministry and we were able to solicit that money because this wasn't a part of the process of tendering. This is something that happened outside of the process of tendering. So
we wouldn't have that would not occur by us. There's no avenue for that, for no adjustment to the project or I'm trying to remember the technical term for it. But
usually, man,
you can't add more and say, okay, if I get to do this, put $1 more and do this.
So
we don't have money for that.
No cost overrun by us.
There would be no money for that. All that the ministry will give you is the money that was awarded for the projects, exact by the dollar.
Right.
So there's nothing outside of that. Yeah, that would be the end of that. So that has to happen. But what is really puzzling me about that? Now, I keep saying this. I'm no expert at this. But if my little knowledge serves me right, the procurement regulation does not allow for credit.
Correct. It states that the finance must be
Like
there before you could award
Right.
anything.
So, if this is the case, then I am saying to the minister, if I can't take credit, then I can't award a contract unless I have that money in my account. Because I can't take credit.
Procurement
That's
says
why,
that.
that's how I understand it.
Yeah.
So if I can't take credit, how could I award a contract and then ask for the money? So it's confusing. I don't know if you understand where I'm going with this,
Well, I understand where you're going because when you look at the procurement regulation, it states clearly that in order to award a contract, the money must be there because the contractor could ask.
Correct.
The contractor to ask to say, look,
Evidence of
funds available for this project. And if you award, if you go that direction without money, the contractor could even take it to court according to the procurement regulation. So how could we now say that, look, we will award and then collect?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's confusing. Because you tell me one thing this way, that's the law, the procurement regulator, and then you tell me something after and say, hey, when you get the contract, then tell me how much money you want. So it just shows the level of stupidity that happens in the local government. And let me tell you something, Victor, I'll be honest with you. I've been, like I said, I've been in about 10 years and going. And nobody respects local government, not the ministry, nobody. We work real hard. All the council in this country, they get the most amount of cost from every single person. I'll be real about that. Everybody's costing me. But you know what? You know what's the strange thing? You know the what they call them, the Salaries Review Commission there, they get the council $1,000 increase. But they get the Prime Minister, all over, thousands of dollars. But you know, all of we getting cost? We alone getting cost now. Because they're not seeing the Prime Minister that cost you, they ain't seen the MP that cost them. And if you go by the MP office in the morning, any MP in this country, you know what I tell you? You check the council yet? You understand how this is playing out? So, I said that to say this to Trinidad and Tobago. all the councillors work real hard. Every councillor's conscious put their best foot forward, they take everything, all the blows from all you. But nobody supports the councillors.
Yeah.
Because they believe that we are the, what do they call it? What do they call it in the aquarium, the bottom feeder, that our fishes eat from the bottom. We are scavengers in politics.
Catfish.
But you know what? Every wake, wedding, funeral, they want a tent, they want 2 chairs, they want 4 tables. Everything comes to the councillors. And that's a fact. And at some point in time, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to respect all the councillors. Because we work real hard, trust me. We just take every single thing all the throughout way. And all you have to give we something. Support. Call for we a little bit. Support we a little bit. I listen up. And I don't mean to be thing with any of the chairman or mayors. What does the man do? The mayor getting nearly $4,000 traveling. But you know what? He have a corporation vehicle and driver.
Yeah.
He did council again, but I think $1,800. He had to find a car, put gas, fix it if it falling in a pothole. How that maths could have matched up? And I'm making a point here for councillors, and not myself, but for all the councillors. This can't be right. You go in the bazaar, you see the councillor. You see anywhere you go, you see the councillor. You know.
Anything happen, they call
Yeah,
the
you see,
councillor.
and the councillor, and the councillor. and the councillor.
Somebody died, they want in a quick son
You
of
know,
a plaque or feed the
Trinidad and
councillor.
Tobago, let me tell you something. If you call Wasa anymore and say you know water, you know what I tell you? Call the corporation.
Yeah.
And you know where they collect water rate? Well, you tell me how that's working out. We ain't collect water rate, but we have to carry water for you. So it has become a burden on corporations now that everything has to come to the corporation. Yeah. Everything comes to the corporation right now. Every single thing. But nobody respects the councillors.
So do you think, as we wrap up, we have about 5 minutes, do you think that the government should implement the rest of the reform where councillors may be able to get a little better salary and to utilize the avenue that is available to bring a better relief to the burgesses within the regions?
Right, so I don't want to make this about money, but the reform is needed. Now, they will have all kind of excuse, but let me put this to you. They proclaimed that Procurement Act, the whole government system shut down for about nearly 2 months.
Right.
Because everything wasn't in sync. So is your problem with
1 minute you could do business on that million, then next
Yeah.
minute you have to get approval.
a
And,
million things set up?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's just all out. But at some point in time, it started to settle down. So in order to fix anything, you can't fix it by just telling somebody, Joe, proclaim it. Let's see what the problems are as we enact it and fix it. The position of the United National Congress, as I understand it to be, and things like the property tax, which you don't agree with, is more burden on the population. So we have a problem with that. We talk about the executive council, that might be an issue. But whatever the issues are, if it's not outside there working, we can't fix it.
right.
It's in a drawer somewhere. What sense does that make? Let us put it out there, and let's have the debate, let's have the discussion, let's work it, let's twist it, let's tweet it, and let's fix it. Because no law is perfect. So at some point in time, let's put it outside there and see what you can do with it.
So we have 3 minutes. I want to thank Councillor Bowen for joining us here this afternoon and giving us a little insight and at least sharing some of his concerns in relation to the reform with you, the people of the country. So Councillor Bowen, I want to thank you very much for being here with me this evening, giving up your time and at least sharing some of your concerns with the national community as to what is happening. Now, I want to switch a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen what is taking place within the health sector. We have Minister Diyal Singh, who I consider to be one of the biggest failure, who I will put line up with Fitzgerald Hines. I think there's a tie. National security and health, I think there's a tie. in that ministry for the worst performing ministers. We went back from as far as early COVID situation, where D.L. Singh continued to put his foot in his mouth. And what I like about D.L. Singh is that, you know, sometimes he speak the truth. He say, I as a minister, custom put my foot in my mouth. Do you remember that? He'd make a statement and he say, I usually put my feet in my mouth. But it seems as though that he put in the whole foot, the leg, everything in the mouth right now. Because we have a situation throughout the health sector. And for some reason, the health sector just cannot get itself off the ground where it was able to bring relief for the citizens of this country. We have a situation in the Mount Hope area, Councillor Bowen, where we have a lot of deaths, infant deaths. And we are hearing about 7, I think, 7 babies in Port of Spain, 7 babies, Mount Hope, 7 babies passed. And we are hearing all kind of different excuses. Mad function here, mad function there, machine this, machine that, machine the other. And I am really, while I ain't getting into too much because there's an investigation going on, so I don't want to get into too much in it. But the rest of the health sector seems to be falling apart under Minister D.L. Singh. And I will have to deal with that. I mean, my time is out, our time is gone. Yeah. But I will have to deal with that issue probably in a subsequent live, whether it be next Tuesday or before. But we just cannot allow the citizens of this country to fall prey to what is happening as a result of the failure of ministers who command ministries, whose ministries, as a result of the policies, continue to fail. So that is something we will deal with in the very near future. But my time is out. I want to thank Councillor Bowen for being here today. And I want to thank you, the viewers and listeners, as we continue to deal with issues that continue to affect us internally, externally, Jet Li, Bruce Lee, and all the other Lee. Good night.
Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghetto, and the way on them like they don't care about the money now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.